And we're back with Unforgettable Conversations. We're in season 5. It's awesome. Technically episode 3, but I don't know if you guys haven't noticed. I'm alone in here. We're going to be doing a different segment today. I call it Littos Room. But before we get started, I think I need to introduce myself. Because for a long time, a lot of people thought that this was Donnie Darko's podcast, which is not. He's a key element to it. I always call him the salt of the podcast. He brings out some of the best attributes in some of the people that we invite. Now, where to start? Well, it all began back in 1994. Okay, I'm not going to go that far, but I will go back to, well, how about we go back to the very beginning, at least high school, where everybody got started somewhere, right? So I want to say in the beginning, freshman year, I was kind of ambitious. I decided to get out of my comfort zone from being in elementary school and get into football and try to get myself out of this shy, insecure kid. And ultimately, I knew it was going to be a lot of work and a lot of work, especially since I was going into a very competitive sport. Got into it, worked my way up, and come school year, I felt like I got that sense of accomplishment. I went after it. I did what I needed to do, and I actually got into it. Put in the time, lost my summer, my last 8th grade summer, I guess you could say, before I went into 9th grade. And for a lot of people that don't know, I wasn't the brightest kid. Okay, let me explain. So, from middle school all the way to pretty much freshman, sophomore year of high school, I was in special ed classes. A lot of people didn't know that. Because a lot of people think that, I mean, maybe not a lot of people, but there's some people out there that I fool that I'm pretty smart. But I think a lot of it I can blame my shyness, believe it or not. And I think that being in that state and realizing where I was at, where I knew I had a learning disability and I accepted it, pushed me to try to better myself in any other way. So I pretty much pushed myself to learn the best way I know how to learn. And the best way I know how to learn is through videos and examples. And I think one of my teachers actually helped me with that the most. And it was tough. Definitely being tough, trying to get through it, because I eventually got out once I got into high school, but for a long period of time I was in special ed classes, and I mean, a lot of special ed kids get picked on, and I was one of them, hence the football, trying to get out of it. And I got out, but I felt like that's not the end for me. That's not where I finished and it's like, okay, I got out, did what I needed to do. I felt like I got ambitious after that. And I wanted to pursue more and more as far as like, where else can I improve? Where else can I gain some progress? So what I ended up doing was, after high school, I did go to college, but as many as you know, I am actually a college dropout. Yep, I am not the smartest kid around. As far as school was never really for me. I did do my best and I did get through it for the majority of it, but I did my major classes and towards the end just decided not to go the direction that I wanted to go with as far as criminal justice as my major and seeking a career in law enforcement. That was my ultimate goal getting out of high school. But I realized, you know what, this is just almost like a status symbol, that I can get to that point, but I don't think that's what I want to do for the rest of my life. I think I met a lot of good friends on the way, which is how you guys know one of the Bromigos, Skipper, aka Alex. I like how I said aka Alex. Technically, it's more like Alex, aka Skipper. He was a great friend. We built great bonds, and he was studying the same thing, and that's how I ended up meeting him. And we built a great connection. Even after I decided to drop out, we still kept in touch. He actually ended up going through and got his associates in criminal justice, pushed even past that point, and got his bachelor's degree in administration of justice. So props to you, Alex. You did something I never did. But ultimately, that's not what I wanted to do. I had finished all my major classes. I needed maybe like a semester or two. And I made a decision that I think it's hard for a lot of people to make this decision. And it's to go against the grain. I know it's not easy, but sometimes you have to make that decision where you cut your losses and you go towards what you are passionate about. And at the time, I was passionate about what I was doing as far as my work. And I started off as a porter right out of high school. Slowly moved on up to become a maintenance technician at a property management company. Now, for those of you guys that don't know what a maintenance technician is, it's a glorified handyman. So I did a little bit of everything. I learned a little bit of everything. But that's what I liked. I liked learning as much as possible in a different setting. I excelled in this area because a lot of the training wasn't paper and pencil. A lot of the training was, I'm going to show you once and you're going to figure it out. And if you don't figure it out, it's going to be a problem, and then you're still going to have to figure it out. And I think I learned best that way, where it's visually, I saw someone do it, might have seen a video on top of it, and I learned it. I got it. It locked in place. It wasn't the paper saying, this is how you fix this and then take this measurement. It was, look, I'm going to show you how to do it, and we're going to go from there. And I climbed that ladder once I got that down. Climbed the ladder all the way up to a maintenance engineer. And I was running my own property at one point. Brand new luxury property. I actually had employees underneath me, which is one of the employees was my brother, aka, I'm going to say it again, Donnie Darko, aka Danny. And Danny was a good foot soldier, is the term. He was a good employee because he knew that taking the initiative was part of the job, but also taking an order was part of the job. But we both weren't happy there. And I'm glad Danny ended up doing what I ended up doing, which was making a decision. He could have pursued what I was pursuing and moved up the chain because he started off the way I started off as a porter and made his way up to a maintenance technician and could eventually become a maintenance engineer like myself at the time. But he made the same decision that I made back in college. He said, no, I can go this way, but I'm not passionate about it. So he got out. And at the time, I moved up to working as a government contractor after that, but I had another decision to make. Probably 6 months after Danny made his, a big decision. And throughout our lives, we have these decisions that we always make. Do I keep going? Do I stay committed? If I put in a little bit of time, will I get through this? For some of you guys, it could be yes. But for some of you, that the answer was yes and you kept going, you might have regrets later on. I don't. I feel like I don't. I think once I got up to the government contractor position on a military base doing maintenance, I realized that being the jack of all trades is good if you're a homeowner, but not good as a career. And I was not a homeowner, but I wanted a career. So I knew that the best way to describe it is if you have every option on the table, are you going to try to take a bite out of everything or emphasize on one thing? The best results always emphasize on one thing. So that's what I ended up doing. I knew electrical, I knew plumbing, I knew HVAC work, I knew how to weld, I knew how to do a little bit of carpentry, locksmith work, painting, but I ended up going towards what I enjoyed the most. Emphasized. Making that decision, no longer going this way because the ladder could still be climbed, but making a shift to, let me emphasize a little bit more on what I want. So I actually got into the plumbers union, which a lot of you guys have heard about this story. Danny actually tried to get in at the same time. And once he actually got the opportunity, he actually moved and did a shift again. I stayed through. Took me 2 years, a very, very difficult math test, a very awkward interview in front of a panel of plumbers that are asking you plumbing questions, even though they should know that you know nothing really about plumbing because you just know the basics. So after a very long time, I actually got through. I got in. I got the opportunity to get into the union. And I got in and I got hyper-focused like I've done in the past. Hyper-focused. Moved up the ladder and accomplished what some people do in 5 years in 3. And that opened multiple doors for me, including this one, to be able to be more hyper-focused on what I want to do. Now, I'm not saying quit your job and go become a plumber, but I am saying maybe rethink what you're going to school for. If the student loans seem scary enough, luckily I got out of there without any student loans or debt of any sorts. But making that decision, even if it's not that, but an employment job, is that really what you want to do? And I'd say go ahead and ask yourself, could I see myself dying in this position? As a plumber, working at 9 to 5, maybe even doing a podcast? My answer a lot of the times is yes, because I enjoy it and because I am passionate about both those things. I'd hope you guys could be passionate about those things as well. The same way that I feel like Danny is leading that into that direction where he's passionate about what he wants to do, which is X-ray technician. We actually had a podcast about it, and he went into in depth into it and talked about everything he learned, as well as the positions that he could possibly get and how to move up the ladder once he got there. Now, another good friend of mine, we won't say his name, but he's came out on the podcast before, is going through that period right now where he's maybe making that shift, but still hasn't figured out what he wants exactly. But it's okay. Give it that buffer period to try to figure it out. And if you have the opportunities, try a little bit of everything. And then figure out what exactly you like. Now, going into that opportunity that I mentioned, through the job that I have, I was able to start this, which I feel like we've accomplished a lot, guys. In a little bit less than a year, we've done 5 seasons. 5 seasons of UNFC. 5 great, fun seasons. I got to meet new people. I got to talk to people that I hadn't really talked to before. I got in depth with a lot of different people. And I made closer bonds with a lot of people, including family. But let's start at the beginning of the podcast. How did this start? I can tell you, this was never the plan. Now, as a lot of you guys know, this studio was originally my office before. This is the second bedroom in my home. And I wanted to make this space and the podcast not for myself. That was not my intention at all. It was actually for my wife. Which, shout out to, relate to you, Kez Lula. You guys have been doing a great job. Proud of you guys. Been watching your guys' episodes. Link will be in the description, guys. Go ahead and check them out too. They've been doing great work. I feel like theirs is a little bit more organized. I'm slowly getting there. I'm only one person trying to do everything on top of work and life. But I started this for my wife so that she could have a platform to be able to have fun, hang out with friends, and do one thing that she's way better than anybody else that I know of in the world, I would say. Public speaking. She's great at it. She's awesome. She's articulate. She's intelligent. And she is organized, unlike us. We're a little bit sloppy and we makeshift a lot of stuff. But she's great. Her podcast is great. And that was my vision. How can I create this room into something that she could use as a podcast? And I was like, all right, start doing some research. One thing I am good at is research. And it's because I learned how to, like I mentioned in the past, educate myself. If I see someone put up some curtains, put up the wood, organize a podcast studio, angle everything, get some lighting, what's the best thing that you can get in the top videos, and that's how all this was made. It wasn't easy, but it wasn't hard either. Anyone could do it. There's probably like under 50 videos that I probably watched to do all of this and accomplish all of it. Just took a little bit of money. It's one thing. Did take a little bit of money. But anybody can do it. Anybody can start right off the bat. All you really need is an iPhone. But I made this for my wife to have her platform ultimately. Now, as you can tell, I piggybacked off of it. I have one fear and one fear only. Public speaking. Some of you guys have seen it in the past when we talked about it. Public speaking is one of the biggest fears I have. Some people are afraid of spiders. Some people are afraid of snakes. I would take on a spider and a snake and a bear at the top of a building on a dark night with the potential of drowning. I don't know. In a claustrophobic area. I would take that over public speaking. But it goes back to it. I'm ambitious. My ambition and my urge to progress, to be better, pushed me to face my fear. And I'm not going to lie to you. Right now, I'm not the most comfortable I've ever been, but I'm doing it. I'm trying to push past it. It's not easy. It's gotten better, but it's not easy. But that's why I used the opportunity of creating this for her, but to also overcome my own fear of public speaking. And I thought, what better way than to post this to possibly hundreds of thousands of people so that they can judge me and comment. And I don't really read the comments. Well, sometimes I do, but not that much. If anything, I'm like your comments, maybe reply to a couple of them, but ultimately it was to overcome a fear. But I started enjoying it more and more. And I think my friends started enjoying it more and more too. And then it became a thing. Something that we do on Tuesday nights. By the way, episodes come out on Tuesday mornings at 9 a.m. But I got smart with it too. Record a couple episodes, you don't have to post anything for a couple weeks. That's how we do it. But once I actually got past that point where it's like, okay, I'm behind a camera. People are watching me. Now more than ever, more people are watching me. Started to kind of get comfortable. And then that's when I was like, well, let's try to push it a little bit further. Let's try to get more views. Let's try to get more likes. Let's try to put it on Instagram. Let's try to grow our audience. And that's what we're doing right now. Last season, we finished off with, I want to say, we reached our initial goal. I mean, think about it like this. My goal was, if I could get 50,000 views as a channel, not even off of one video, just as a channel, I would be happy. That would have already been a check mark of we won. 50,000 views as a channel. Not easy. And as far as subscribers, we had different goals, but I think in the beginning it was like, let's get 50,000 views as a channel by the end of the year, or after completing a year, and 50 subscribers. And what I ended up actually accomplishing with the team is we hit somewhere around, I think right now we're somewhere around 225,000 views as a channel. Now that's a lot. I don't even know 200 people. I don't even know 20 people, let alone 200,000 people. We reached our goal, surpassed it, and kept going. Same thing with our subscribers. Although subscribers are a little bit harder, which if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. Really appreciate it if you do. It helps us out. And it's free. You don't have to do anything for it. But going back to it, it was hard. It was hard, but we kept pushing towards it and getting out of our comfort zone. Creating new goals every step of the way. And that's what this is as well. This is me furthering my... What's that quote that everybody says? Let's try to get uncomfortable. Let's try to get comfortable being uncomfortable. That's what it is. Comfortable being uncomfortable. That's hard. It's very hard. But it's possible. So, that's what we're trying to do here. But we're going to try to do it with a little bit of a mix. I think what we're going to do is, for this segment, it will be just me. It will be every 4 or 5 episodes. It's not going to always be me, guys. All right. We're going to have new guests. We're going to have new people. We already had new people, but we're going to have more people. We're going to have better topics. But for here, it's going to be a little bit of a one-on-one / humor / a little bit of current events, and figure out what's going on in the world, see how we could see it in a better way, and motivate ourselves to get past certain things, certain problems, certain fears that we all deal with. Same way I'm dealing with it right now, you guys are going to be here and we're going to deal with it together. So stay tuned for the next Littos Room, where we're actually going to get started on the actual topic, but at least you guys got to know me. And that's pretty much it. Now, before I finish, like I said, go check out Relate to You podcast. The girls have been doing great. Subscribe to them as well. Go check them out on Spotify. They're actually on Spotify. We're not. Link will be in the description. And if you guys can help us and support us, please hit the subscribe button. It helps us out a lot. And apparently we have I think 70% of people that watch our videos but aren't subscribed. So I'm talking about you 70%, because there's at least my mom and my wife are subscribed. That's all that matters to me, but you matter too. 73% of you. So go ahead, subscribe. Tune in for the next episode, where we will have guests, and then maybe later on the line you'll see another Littos Room Part 2. Catch you guys later.